In this video, I put 5 magnet glitches to the test and ranked them from worst to best. These magnet grinders can get you so much gold within a short period of time. I rated each and every one of them on their speed, controllability, and cost to put them to the ultimate test. The best grinders on this list may be expensive, but they are definitely the best to control. Speaking of which, only about 9% of you guys are actually subscribed. It's completely free to subscribe, and I appreciate every one of you that do. So guys, we're going to be starting out by kicking off with the number 5 grinder on this list, and this is basically the balloon grinder. Now the balloon grinder right here actually doesn't require any pilot seat, which you would usually use in other magnet grinders, but it's basically the cheapest way on this list to actually get to the end. And if there's no stages that can actually block it, this grinder can be really useful and it can actually grind you a lot of gold. But now that you know, the cake code has actually been removed, so we're going to be using fireworks for this magnet grinder. And if you guys need a firework, I'm going to put a code right on the screen right here, and you guys can go ahead and redeem it for a free firework. Now using this grinder is as simple as placing a firework inside of yourself like this, and all you really have to do is just have this little mechanism, and basically what you want to do is just activate the balloon, and it basically propels you up, and at a certain height you guys just have to activate the magnet and the glitch will start working. So I'm gonna just activate it like this. I'm gonna deactivate the balloon to get some height lowered, and then we're just going to activate it again like this. Now right from the start, you can basically tell that it's a really smooth ride with this magnet glitch, but you guys don't have the actual controls of going up and down, not fully. You basically have this balloon and this magnet glitch like this, and as you guys may notice, you might be rising slowly up like this, and all you really have to do is just deactivate the balloon sometimes. But really, this magnet glitch sometimes will get unreliable because it rises up this fast. And you won't really get the gold from the stages on the bottom if you're not really inside the stages. But you guys can make your way all the way to the end, and all you really have to do is just glide over here. And we're just going to come over here and we're just going to delete our stuff like that. And you guys can just basically get your gold. Here we go. This grinder is basically really good for getting gold in the chest. It's not necessarily good for going through the stages and getting all of the gold there. So let's go ahead and see how much gold we get. And we're gonna go ahead and get ourselves 165 gold. As you guys can see, we didn't get that much gold from the last stages, but we actually got the gold block. Overall, for this grinder, I'm going to give it a 5 on speed, just because it's not one of the fastest grinders here. I'm going to also give it a 5 on controllability, because it's sometimes hard to deactivate the balloon and go down. But for cost, I'm going to give this one a 10, as it's one of the cheapest ones here, and you don't actually need a pilot seat. Moving on to the next grinder, we have the sled magnet grinder. Now, this magnet grinder used to be really popular back in the old days, and people would call it the sled because it's basically shaped like a sled. This grinder is credited to Cloudsy. I'll link his channel down in the description, and this is one of the fastest grinders here. So let's go ahead and test it. We're just gonna go like this. We're gonna activate the magnet, and from the start you guys can see that we pick up a lot more speed, and you guys can just go up like this, and you guys can control it. Now the thing about this, it might get a little bit too hard to control the speed, as it might go a little too fast, as you guys can see, and it might be sometimes really hard to control, and as you guys can see, it's really glitchy, but you guys can actually get to this end really fast. So let's go ahead and claim our treasure. We're gonna come down right here to the chest. Okay, let's go ahead and see how much gold we get, and we're gonna rate it. And we got ourselves the gold block, and let's see how much gold we get. And we got 165 gold in total. As you guys saw, this grinder is actually a little too fast for the stages to actually pick up that it's getting gold, which is not really good for getting the max amount of gold, but it's good for getting the gold block. Now for speed, I'm actually going to give this an 8, but even though this is one of the fastest grinders of the top 5 list, it's a little too fast to actually get the maximum gold. For controllability, I'm going to give this a 7. I'm going to give it a 7 because you get that pilot seat to control it all around, but it can be really glitchy sometimes when you really want to turn. For cost, I'm going to give it a 7. It's pretty cheap, but you will be needing the car kit to actually get these servos, which adds more to the cost, and that's basically it. Moving on to the third grinder, this is one of the most simple hinge flying magnet grinders, and this is really simplified, and really all you have to do is just place a magnet and a block and a hinge. And with that, let's go ahead and test it out. Let's go ahead and activate the magnet, and from the start you can notice that it's a little bit more controllable, but you have to keep on going up with this. As it keeps on going down, it's a little bit more slower, so it's much easier to control, but you have to actually keep on tapping forward to actually control it. Let's go ahead and claim our gold. And I think this grinder was actually able to get all the gold. And we went ahead and got ourselves 201 gold. It skipped 2 stages. So it's not the full maximum gold that you would usually get from going through the end, but it's one of the most simplest magnet glitches. For speed, I'm gonna give this an 8. It's pretty fast, but it might not get the max gold that you would usually get. For controllability, I'm gonna give this an 8. It's a little bit better than the sled grinder, but it's not as good as the number 1 grinder. And then for cost, I'm just gonna give this a 9. It's really cheap. It's one of the cheapest grinders, which uses just a hinge, a magnet, and a block of any choice. And let's go ahead and move on to the next grinder. So for our next grinder we have here, it basically uses the same setup, except it has a hinge and a floating block to go along with it. And it's much easier to actually control this thing. By the way, this is credited to Adrianzo, so go ahead and subscribe to him. Links in the description. And let's go ahead and test it. And if you guys would actually control this, you guys would notice how much easier it is to actually control this from the last grinder. This is basically guaranteed to actually get to the end every time, and I'm pretty sure you get the max gold. And let's go ahead and claim our treasure. And we got ourselves the gold block, and let's see how much gold we're gonna get. And we got ourselves all the gold except one stage. So that means the speed is basically perfect except one stage that was missed. For speed, I'm gonna give this one a 9 as it's almost there to the perfect speed, but it's just a tad bit too fast. For controllability, I'm gonna give this a 9. We're getting way more closer to that anti-gravity feel. And if you guys try this for yourself, it's much easier to control. For cost, I'm gonna give this an 8. There's a little bit more materials needed for this compared to the last grinder. So anyways, we're gonna be moving on to the number 1 grinder. For our number 1 grinder, we have the ultimate anti-gravity grinder. Now this grinder actually uses a series of wheels and magnets and springs to achieve that anti-gravity feel. So let's go ahead and test it. Right from the bat, you guys can see that this grinder looks a lot more advanced than the other grinders. And from the start, you guys actually start floating like this. Right now, I am not controlling it at all. And basically, you guys can just float through all of the stages. And right now, it might seem slow, but it actually picks up speed as you go on. This is a magnet glitch that I use in a lot of my builds, such as my recent build, the flying pod. Go ahead and check that video out if you haven't already. And we're just gonna go ahead and claim our treasure. And that is absolutely one of the best grinders inside Build-A-Boat that you can actually use. We got our gold block, and for our gold, we got every single amount of gold except the last stage, which we were a little too fast for. For the speed of this, I'm gonna give it a 10. Even though it starts out slow, it speeds up as you go on through the stages. For controllability, obviously I'm gonna give this a 10. It's one of the easiest ones to control on this list. And for cost, I'm gonna go ahead and give this a 7. Even though it's one of the best magnet grinders, it's not actually the most affordable. So anyways, let's just do a recap on all the magnet grinders and see all their scores. So for the first grinder, basically the balloon grinder with no pilot seat, it got a total of 20 points. The second grinder, the sled grinder, it got a total of 22 points. For the most basic hinge magnet grinder, it got a total of 25 points. And for the smooth floating block hinge grinder, it got a total of 26 points. And then for the first anti-gravity grinder, it got a total of 27 points. So you guys basically can see how I ranked all of these top 5 grinders. So anyways, let's go ahead and build all of them. So anyways, let's start with the first grinder. So for this grinder, all you really have to do is just place a wooden rod like this. Go ahead and get yourself a seat and face it forward. Get wooden blocks like this. Place 2 like that. Go ahead and get your wooden rod again and place 1 right there. And then 1 on top. Get your wooden block again. Place 1 directly in the center. Place 1 over here. Then go ahead and get titanium and place 1 at the far end. We're going to then get some balloons. We're going to go ahead and go on this corner right here and go 1 in like that. We're going to place 1 right here and then 1 connected to it. And then we're going to go ahead and get a magnet. We're going to face it backwards. And then we're going to get our wooden rod again. We're going to place it right in the middle like this. Then all you guys want to do is just get a hinge. Place it on the back of this like that. And then we're just going to be placing a wooden block. And then you guys can go ahead and save. Now the setup part is really easy. All you have to do is just hop in the seat and go ahead and get a firework. And then just place your firework inside your body like that. Delete the seat, delete the rod, select. And then you guys should be like this. All you have to do is just launch. Go ahead and activate the balloon like this. And it should activate the balloon. And all you really want to do is just wait until you're a certain height. Go ahead and activate the magnet and deactivate the balloon and activate it again. And you guys are basically set to go to the end. And so this is the first grinder. It's really smooth like this. It's controlled by the balloon and the magnet. So let's move on to the second grinder. So for this grinder, all you really have to do is go ahead and get a wooden rod like this. Go ahead and get a wooden block like that. Then we're going to go ahead and place 6 wooden blocks out here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then we're just gonna place one back here. We're gonna go ahead and get our metal block. We're gonna go one block apart like this. We're gonna place 1, 2, 3. Then we're just gonna go out one more. And we're gonna do the same on the other side like this. And then we're just gonna place these like that. Then all you wanna do is go ahead and get servos. Place it on the far corner like this and like that. And all you really have to do is place a wooden block right here in the middle. Go ahead and get a magnet. I'm gonna go ahead and get mine here, and then just face it backwards like this. You don't want to place it inside the block, but you want to leave a little gap like this. And all you really want to do is just place your pilot seat, and we're just gonna place it right here like that. Now you guys can go ahead and save it, and setup is really easy. All you really have to do is go ahead and delete the rod, and this is one of the fastest ones, so go ahead and build it if you guys want to. Moving on to the next grinder, this is one of the simple magnet grinders. All you really have to do is place a wooden rod, go ahead and get a pilot seat and place it like this. Then get yourself a magnet and face it inwards like this. Then all you really have to do is just place it, and then all you really have to do is just place it over here. You guys should have something like this, and then you guys have that. And then all you have to do is just place a block of any kind. I'm gonna place a titanium on the back of this, like this. Then you just have to place a hinge facing inwards. So I'm just gonna go ahead, get a hinge, and face it inwards like that. And that's basically it. Then just go ahead and save it. For the setup of this one, just go ahead and delete the rod, launch the boat, activate the magnet, and then you guys are basically set with this grinder. One of the more simple ones, but you can keep on grinding gold with this. For this next grinder, it's gonna get a little bit more complicated. Go ahead and place a wooden rod like so. Then go ahead and get a titanium block. Then we're gonna go ahead and get our pilot seat. And we're gonna place it right on the block like this. A little bit should be hanging under here. Then go ahead, we're gonna get 2 rods. We're gonna go, you guys can use any rod. 1, 2. Then we're gonna get a hinge like this. We're gonna face it up right here. Then we're gonna get another block. We're gonna use titanium like that. And you guys just wanna place a magnet in the back of this, just like this, and then go ahead and save. For this, all you just have to do is delete the rod and launch the boat and go ahead and fly it like this. You guys have more of an anti-gravity feel, and it's much more easy to control it with this one. Anyways, let's move on to the next one. So this right here is the #1 grinder. Now you will be needing a little bit more materials for this, so anyways, let's get started. So all you guys want to do is go ahead and place a wooden rod like so. Then we're gonna get titanium. We're gonna place a block right here and then a block right next to it. Then we're just gonna place 6 more blocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then do the same for this side like this. And then all you want to do is go ahead and get a rod. We're gonna place it right in the center like this. Place 2 of them. Then place a block right here. We're gonna go ahead and get our wheels now. And by the way, these wheels are from the Legacy Car Pack. You guys can go ahead and buy it for 750 gold in the shop. Go ahead and place 1 right here, rotated facing backwards. Then rotate 1 like this. Then we're just gonna go ahead and get our magnets. So let's go ahead and we're just gonna place 1 on the back like this, and then 1 in the front, and then 1 more in the back like that. Then we're gonna go ahead and get some springs. We're gonna put 1 right here. Make sure it's inside of the wheel like that. Place another one on this side like so. And all you have to do now is just place a pilot seat just like this. And then all you want to do is go ahead and save it like this. And for setup, it's really easy. Just delete the rod and just launch the boat. Then activate all the magnets, and then you guys should be good to go just like this. And there you go. You guys have your anti-gravity grinder. Anyways, that will be all for today's video. These are all the tutorials and reviews of the top 5 magnet grinders. Have fun grinding, and I'll see you later.